Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. This is a show that we do every week, which is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, this show, which is called This Week, is a show in which I talk about what is going to be coming on the channel for this week. So, both the regular shows and the series that we're running for the month. And if I decide to talk about anything in the future, I'll also bring that up. And in addition, I also like to go back just a little bit to correct any mistakes that may have been made that I seen and wanted to make mention that I noticed them. So there was several shows that were late. They weren't late by much this week, which was difficult to believe considering how tired I was some nights. However, as they say, the show must go on, and it does. Also, it's coming down to the end of my baseball seasons on my two teams, both teams fighting it out for first place in their division, so that has taken up some of my time too. I'm hopeful that at least one of them will make the playoffs. Both my teams are in weak divisions, so the chances of getting in are pretty good, and if I don't win the division, I probably won't get in. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I want to go on with the show as it is. With this, after having talked about the past, now we're going to go on to the regular shows for the week. We have a total of 8 regular shows this week. Last week we had a few more because we had a couple of monthly shows on, and I believe one of them was a yearly show, my Masterpiece album. So I will need my glasses, although they are a little fogged up, so we wipe them down here a bit so we can actually see what's going on. That's better. And I will give you these props as I get to the shows. So this week, of course, is the first show that comes out every week. Generally, I've got it marked down here as 8 a.m., but it never comes out at 8 a.m. I don't know why I wrote that down. I was thinking of something else. It's actually a 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. show. If I can get it in between those 2 hours, that's great. So after this show comes the next show, which is normally my Into the Progverse live stream, but we're going to do away with that just for this week for one special episode, which I'm going to put into Rock Legends, which is on Ace Frehley. I did do a tribute to him on the day he passed away, but I was kind of not really in the right frame of mind. But now I want to do something that's a little more detailed and a little bit more involved in Ace's history and his relationships with the other members of the band and that kind of stuff, and the albums he's produced. So we will do that, and it'll take the spot that normally is done by Into the Progverse, so it will come out at 8. I originally considered doing this as a live thread, but because the information came so late, I decided I'm just going to do a video on it. So Rock Legends, Sunday at 8 o'clock this week. Monday night, we will be doing, of course, look back at a classic rock album. And this week's album is going to feature Stevie Ray Vaughan's Couldn't Stand the Weather. Recently, maybe in the last 5 or 6 weeks, I did Texas Flood, but I like this album probably almost as much, maybe on some days a little bit more, so I wanted to do both of them. So we're going to do this one this week. This came out in 1984, his second studio album. So we'll be doing this for a look back at a classic rock album that will come out, Monday at 8 o'clock. Next up, we're doing the mini-series that we are now on the 3rd episode of, which is called Deep Cuts. So far he's given me Deep Purple, and he's given me Fleetwood Mac, and we're going to go to another band, maybe a much bigger band than either of them. Depends on how you want to look at it. Difficult, as he said, to pick deep cuts for this band. We're going to be doing Led Zeppelin. They will be the band we're covering for Deep Cuts number 3. He's given me 15 songs that are probably deep cuts for them, but for other people they'd be hits. Definitely. So we'll be doing that this week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock on the mini-series Deep Cuts. So next up, Wednesday night's favorites. So this is a show that I do every Wednesday night, in which I have a list of some sort, usually a top 10. Most of the time, actually, it's a top 5 or a top 25. Those are the two I tend to like to do the most. But I have done top 10s. I've done rankings, album rankings. So I've done a bunch of different things there. This week we're going to do something a little unusual for the channel. It's not going to be a rock video. I've done one of these recently on my favorite, I think my top 10 favorite YouTube channels. It's something to just break up the monotony here. So we're going to do 10 musical artists I like that are not rock artists. And you're going to be surprised by some of these. I'm surprised by some of them, but we'll be doing a top 10 list of them for favorites this week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Next up, Ranking the Songs. That's a show that we have now moved to Thursday. This will be, I think, the third Thursday I've done it. Yeah. Ranking the Songs. I've chosen the band Whitesnake and the album that I like the most, Come and Get It. We're going to rank the, I think there's 10, maybe there's 11 tracks here. I don't know. Actually, there's 10 tracks, sorry. I couldn't see it because they wrote it in blue on a dark background. So this is kind of the bluesy era kind of Whitesnake version. So we're going to do this album. This will be for Ranking the Songs. This will come out Thursday at 8 o'clock. Next up on the docket is Friday night, and we're going to do another episode of Who Did It Better. This has been going pretty good. Some of the songs have been loved by people, and the different versions, of course. Most people love the original version and not so keen on the covered version. This one's going to be a bit of an unusual episode, as we will be doing Who Did It Better. It's All Too Much is the song, covered by 3 bands, the Beatles, Journey, and Steve Hillage. So I'm interested to see how that goes. I'm not even sure if I've heard the Beatles version of this, although I'm pretty sure I have. So I'm going to be listening to this 3 different versions of this song, and then I'll give you my take on it. We'll probably have a first, second, and third place here, just for that particular episode. So that will come out Friday at 8 o'clock. So the final episode of the week is Saturday at 8 o'clock, which is What's New. I've moved it back to this. I think I like it better. I was a little bit late on it yesterday because I was going back over the tracks a couple times, and that's what took me longer. So I've decided on a band that I did on the Prog Roundup at the end of last month. I've done 2 of them off of that. I'm going to do the 3rd one now. Shrinks, or Sphinx, I think it's pronounced Shrinks. It's Syrinkx, sorry. No K, an X instead. That is a Canadian band, and the album is called Time Out of Place. We'll be doing that album for the What's New episode. This is basically a kind of a prog, a little bit of metal in there, and a few other elements, spacey elements as well. So hopefully it'll be of interest to people. I kind of like this. It's growing on me, this particular album. So that's for What's New this week. Will be Saturday at 8 p.m. On to the series. So we have the series that we are running for the entire month of October, in which I've picked 31 albums that have a kind of a scary theme, or maybe a monster theme to the album, depends. The scary themes are not as easy to find. As you get older, less things scare you, but the monster theme is easier to find. So we have another 7 albums for that coming out, and then we'll, of course, be down to the final week after that. For next month, we're going to be running the series for the month of November. Will be 30 albums that are, well, not necessarily albums, but bands or artists who produced my favorite lyrics. So the bands that have the best lyrics, or the lyrics that I enjoy the most, we're going to do a whole month of that. I think it'll be fun. There's lots of bands whose lyrics I like, and they're not necessarily like science fiction lyrics or or sex, drugs, and rock and roll lyrics. Sometimes they're just every ordinary day type of things that are happening in the world type lyrics, but there's all kinds of different types. Some people use rhyme in all their lyrics. Other people's never use rhyme. Some people use choruses, some do not. There's a multitude of different types of lyrics that go into music. Some people like to write these epic length stories. Others, no epic length stories. The lyrics are very simple but straightforward and catchy. Some like to pile the lyrics together and make these very difficult tongue-twisting songs to sing. And then other guys like to space it out and just make it smooth sounding, or they use lyrics timely. So there's all kinds of different types of lyrics. But of course, the commonality of all this is that they will be from rock bands or rock artists. So that's the series we're going to run for the entire month of November. In addition to this, we'll also be running, I'm hoping to do this at the beginning of the month. I've got 4 of my 8 props, got 2 more yesterday, of bands that started this ball rolling. The series will be 7 rock bands that got the ball rolling, so back in the 50s. So I've chosen 7 different artists from the 1950s who I think were very influential and kind of cover the whole genre of the music. That's where I want to go with this. And so this series, I'm hoping to start it at the beginning of November. It'll just depend on when I'm ready. I've got pretty much the idea of what I wanted to talk about the artist himself, about his hits, about his coming to prominence, maybe his time where he died, those kind of things. All those things will be we'll discuss a little bit, and what happened to the band as they went along. Were they just phased out by the movement of the music into a different field, or were they able to adapt? So anyways, we're going to talk about those 7 artists who got the ball rolling, which will be the series for it'll be a mini series. So probably go, I'm hoping either the first week of November or the second week. That's my time. And then I have 5 more series for each of the 4 decades or 5 decades that went after that. So we'll start with the 50s and move on. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of this week. Hopefully some of the stuff will be of interest to you, and I hope to see you all throughout the week. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about anything I said, you can do that in the comment section below. And we will see you all then. So have yourself a good day, good evening, and goodbye here from